What's up, everybody? Welcome to the 180 show. Today we got a show for you. We have decided to get a little diverse and we want your opinion. So I partnered up with some friends, brought them in, and now today we're going to talk about it. What would you do if your child got out of line? Talk to you crazy. You going to put them in the corner, tell them it's timeout time, or you going to get the belt and beat them across the behind? Listen, y'all tune in. I got a few people give me their aspect of it. So sit back, get a snack, and let's have a good show. Has their own opinion. We're just here to talk about it and put it out there so everybody can talk about it. So, excuse me. So basically, with your daughters, I have a baby girl. My baby girl, that's my heart. And I'm not gonna say I whooped her, but I have hit her with a belt a few times because my daughter knows to push the line with me. You know what I'm saying? But is it just me? But when my daughter cried, like I turned, and I think she's learned that now. That like she knows that if she cries, I'm gonna turn into marshmallows. So I want to hug her and like really truly have gotten to the point when my dad used to say this gonna hurt me more than it hurt you. I really truly believe that because it really hurts me more.
Right.
Disciplining my daughter. Have you guys ever disciplined your daughters, and how does that affected you guys?
Again, my daughter, who is my oldest, I remember having to go to school a couple times, and I think it was the integrity and the what's the word I'm looking for here? Just the sheer disappointment of I've disappointed my dad, having to have my dad come to the school and deal with a situation regarding something that I've done. So I'm gonna be honest, I've never ever spank my daughter. Never got the opportunity to spank her because whenever it got to that level, me and her mom were not together. Her mom handled that. So there were some phone calls that basically were threatening from her mom, like, "Do you want me to call your dad?" type situation.
Right.
But it never got to that point. Again, just the fear. I think, like you said, I think it's just more effective with girls. Just the fear of knowing, what could happen. Yeah.
I think I'm on the same level as you. Like my oldest is 21, about to be 22. I couldn't.
Yeah.
It just was something in me. But my boys, it's just something as a man, you want your sons to have a level of respect. Not saying that you don't want your daughter to have it, but I'm a dude. It just feels weird to spank a little girl. But my sons, I got on them because you got to get on the boys at a young age because as men, we don't want our sons to go out there and be the knuckleheads in the streets.
Right.
So we want them to be respectful of women and be respectful of the law and things like that. But my little girl, I couldn't. Any of my daughters, I couldn't. I have yet to go there.
So I got a little controversial. You know, Anessa, I'm coming for you. You already know. So Anessa believes, she says she will whoop her kids. So you got your two boys that are at home with you still, and your daughter's grown. And this is going to get controversial. And if you don't want to answer, you can say, on camera, I don't want to answer that one. Do you feel in an African-American household, I'm going there. Do you feel in an African-American household we're more disciplinarian on our kids? And so, black and white.
True.
Most African-American crimes are drug crimes, and they get on drugs and this. And if you go and do the health research of it, they say because we deal with mental illness that we never deal with as kids, that's why we do those particular, like most of them are on drugs. But then we look at the news and we'll say in a Caucasian household, they blow up schools and blow up places, and we say, oh, well, if they would have disciplined their kids, they wouldn't be up here at this school and Bobby wouldn't be in the basement making bombs.
Right.
And we wouldn't be on the news talking about how great of a kid he was when he made a whole bomb. Do you feel that is a true, African Americans don't deal with mental illness and Caucasians don't discipline their kids enough? Or what do you feel about that?
Respectfully, let me answer that
Okay.
with transparency.
Okay.
Because I am friends with Caucasian
Right.
people, I have seen their disciplinary techniques. And yes, I will agree. Those statements are vital and they are somewhat true.
Okay.
Let's take it a whole step back. You have to implement where our ancestors came from. So if we're gonna be real about it, we're gonna say, we as slaves, our ancestors, they were beat and they were disciplined as adults and not by choice. So the foundation of African American families is that the mental health part of it, we have always been a dynamic that we're gonna give it to God and we're gonna pray. Let's just be transparent.
Yeah, I feel you.
But it wasn't until I got into my adulthood and I knew, yes, I had been disciplined, and yes, I had been chastised, as grandma would say, and I was able to grow up and become the woman that I am today because of that discipline. But we also had the side where you really didn't address if there was mental illness present. What went on in this house stayed in this house.
Right.
So it wasn't until I was 37 going through some stuff, I had to go sit on the white couch. Let's just be transparent. God is in me. I love the Lord. I pray to him daily. But that was just not the norm that we did as African Americans. So yes, to answer your question, we as African American people, we do face more mental health issues. The women especially, because there's this facade and there's this foundation. You are the dynamic is not like it used to be. You see, grandpa was in the house no matter what. Grandma and grandma could have so many issues, but we was gonna raise them kids, we was gonna take care. Grandpa was gonna get up every day and he was gonna keep a roof over his head, over our head, no matter what. The divorce rate in this new era, the single parent. So the woman wears many hats, and in itself, she faces so many mental illnesses in herself. She's trying to be the mama, can't never be the daddy, but she's trying to find a balance of how do I raise these kids. So yes, mental illness is very present in the African American households, but we never address it because we were raised to be so strong. You gotta understand, I used to hear my grandma say this all the time, and right now, to this day, I say it, Lord, just give me a stronger back to carry the load.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
We won't break as women. And that's where this new technology has to come in. This new way of thinking is that we got to be transparent. We got to first face who we really are. What used to work back in the day no longer works for us and our children right now. Because you have to understand, what we witnessed grandpa and grandma sticking together in the family, grandma taking what little she had and praying overnight and multiplying it and giving us a meal, and the neighbors' kids was fed, and that village mentality, you don't see it anymore. It's not where our kids are growing up and being able to see. So going back, you have African American strong foundation. You got the mother who may be a single mother and she feel like she's obligated to be strong. But then you got the Caucasian family, I'm being transparent, not racist at all. Let me put that disclaimer out there. Who says, oh, my kid is just entitled. Whether it go back to, let's be transparent, black people are always gonna be somewhat questioned, some have a little more to deal with. However we put it out there, let's just be transparent. That parent don't have it as hard as we do, because let's say the facts be the facts. African American households really don't grow up with two-parent households where you see the Caucasian family, they going to Disney World with mama, daddy, and everybody else.
Wow. I feel you. So my question for you, Blake, when you hear that, do you believe that the discipline, whooping your kids, shoes, bats, belts, whatever people are using these days, we're gonna say belts. People ain't beating their
Let's
kids.
say belts.
They're not beating their
CPS
kids.
will be waiting at the door.
We not beating our kids with that too. None of that. Do you think that builds mental illness?
I think it can. I think it probably could create even like some issues of PTSD. But I just think that we were a lot more, what's the word I'm looking for? I guess resilient than the kids today. I guess we were built stronger to handle those types of things,
Okay.
more or less.
Yes, sir.
The kids nowadays, I guess, are more, I guess, that's been taken away. What's the word I'm looking for here? They're more sensitive than
Yeah.
we were,
True.
if that makes any sense. I mean, and
I feel if I can piggyback off of that, and
Yeah.
I think you could concur with me because she was talking about her daughter. I was in the era, the '90s and the early 2000s, where they started this ADHD
yeah,
epidemic, and you had more energy, you got ADHD. Put them on,
Medications and
put them on
stuff.
Ritalin. Put them on Zola. Oh, he got ADD. Oh, this one got ADD. This one, and like literally everybody had ADD. Now everybody has this disorder. And I'm not trying to be rude, and you can look them up online. But majority of African Americans were ADHD. They were
Right.
they were the ones that they were putting on Ritalin and all these different medications. And me personally, I was diagnosed with ADHD as an adult now. I admit that I do probably have ADHD, and their synopsis that they have. Do I medicate for it? No, I do not. I love having a lot of energy. I love being able to run and go. You know what I'm saying? That's just me. Dealing with a kid that they said had a, deficiency or, because now you have ADHD, you're technically handicapped, right?
It's a code and everything for them at school.
Right, and now they have them in different classes. You can get in special ed with ADHD now.
A code, 504.
Yeah.
Just trust.
but
And that to me is, I grew up in that era, and my parents taught me self-control will always keep you out of trouble. They taught me that, hey, I don't care what they say about you. If you have self-control, it will keep you out of trouble no matter what the illness they say that you have. Because me personally, this is my personal belief, I don't believe in 2002 ADHD just popped out the sky.
Right.
no.
And now, we made this medicine and it's gonna work.
Right.
And now you got all these medicated kids that are just sitting there like twiddling their thumbs, because I was a Ritalin kid. I was that. My parents did, and I have nothing. I have wonderful parents. I don't want no one to think that I'm talking down on my parents, because my parents were great. My parents did choose to let them medicate me, and to this day, me and my mom, we talk 2-3 times a day, and I tell her I wish they would have never done that. I just feel, I remember, I would never forget the most down point of being on Ritalin was I was very smart. And you work with me, a lot of you guys work with me in different situations. Number is my specialty. When it comes to math, I am on point with it. I was in my math class, they had just given me my afternoon medication. And so I had went here, real fast. But being smart, I'm still doing my work. I did literally the whole workbook that we were supposed to finish in 6 weeks. I was done with the whole workbook. Because now my mind is just it's nothing on my mind. And it just really, to me, it just frustrated me. To this day, I tell my mom now, I don't want to medicate my kids.
Right.
I don't. I don't believe. And then, I do believe in disciplining them, but to an extent. Now I see parents that curse at their kids. And that just kind of, I'm not going to say that I don't curse, because everybody has seen me on.
Every now and again, something will come out. Let me just be real.
But when it comes to disciplining a child, it's different levels to it. Different levels to it. Do I feel like the timeout to hear, and even new here on the 180 show to hear you say 99% times, I won't discipline my kid, I'll talk to them. That's interesting to me. That's wow. Because as African Americans, you beat the hell out them kids, you know what I'm saying? But this day and age, they've come up with tablets and now you can't even talk to the kid. You gotta dang near send a text message
Right.
to get their attention. Like, hey,
That's true.
I'm talking to you, you know. And I remember my nephew was going to school, and the teacher said he needed his headphones, and I'm like, for what? You're supposed to be teaching. She said because she didn't want them talking, and if they listen to music, it keeps them on task, and it keeps them not talking. And I feel like the same people that took the discipline out the home is turning our kids into straight kind of like robots.
Right.
True.
True.
And it's scary.
But what do you do with like the like we were fostering with the potential of adopting a 4-year-old
Mm-hmm.
that had some very and it was a slow process, you know, as far as him becoming who he became. I mean, we enrolled him in a Montessori school. We gave him the best of everything, and they medicated him. They had to, and the medication didn't even work.
Wow.
I mean, this kid would literally, I mean, there were videos of them asking him to sit down and do his work, and he would like crawl under the desk and just run around the room nonstop. And then they'd call me and I'd show up as a disciplinary, like, hey, what's going on here? And he would calm down and stop for the moment. But the moment I drove away, it's time for nap time, and they're calling me saying he won't go to sleep. I come back, he lays down and goes to sleep. I drive away, he pops back up again. So how do you handle that? And so we basically ended up having to make a decision that because we couldn't use the methods that we used on children that we raised growing up, you know, we couldn't spank this child. This was a child that we were fostering to adopt. I mean,
Right.
we weren't allowed to put our hands on him. So what do? You stand there and let him tear your house down and destroy the Montessori school, and then what? So that's what I'm saying. It's like sometimes, I mean, think about, they would have had to medicate this kid with enough medicine probably to choke a horse to get him
Wow.
to a level of understanding and being able to slow down and listen. And when you understand how it all works, because your brain is moving faster than you are is what ends up happening.
Mm-hmm.
And so the medication is supposed to make you run the same pace. And that's what I'm saying. I mean, it becomes, you have to make a decision, which is what we ended up having to do. Like, we can't do it. There's no
Right.
way. We'll end up in trouble because we don't even know what to do with this kid. I mean, we couldn't touch him. I mean, the worst we could do was, you could not even,
You can't really even yell at foster
you
kids.
can't yell at them. You can't put them in timeout for more than 2 or 3 minutes, I think, or something like that.
2 to 3 minutes.
Yeah, 2 to 3 minutes.
And not even facing the wall.
And not even facing the wall. It's more like you go sit over there for 2 minutes and don't move. So, when, like you said, when your hands are tied,
What do you do?
You can't medicate them. You medicate them and that ain't working. You over medicate them. It's like there's just some situations to where you just are stuck.
And the medication has a domino effect because
Yeah.
it's either gonna make the child even more hyper, or it's gonna make the child, be slumped down in a corner somewhere. You're gonna slow him down too, slow him or her down too much.
And I know coming off of the medication, I know personal experience, it makes you angry.
Right.
And I will never forget I think I was 15, and by that time my parents couldn't tell me what to do. I thought I was grown.
Yeah.
I had a job, you can't tell me what to do. I was making $6.50 an hour. I thought I was grown. And I just became angry at the world because it felt like nobody could understand me. You know, all my dad wanted to do was beat me.
Right.
All my mom wanted to do was yell at me. This person, like, you know, and it's like the school, one bad thing, they kicking you out.
Yeah.
And then at the time my dad was on dialysis, so I have to sit up at dialysis all day. Or go to my grandma's house, which I loved going to and then when I turned 16, I just wanted them to kick me out. Kick me out, I'm going to my big mama's house. And me and big mama was cool. Like, I was kind of like you, like, hey, look, perfect. Kicking me out, perfect. I get to go to my grandma's house. That's what I'm gonna do. And then before you know it, I was living at my grandma's house. And so it was like, hey, I don't gotta go to school. I don't gotta listen to nobody. But on the flip side of that, because I felt like I didn't have to listen to nobody, I grew up 21, going to jail, because I don't have to listen to your rules. I don't have
Right.
to, but you know what I'm saying? So it is a domino effect. But then I asked myself, I got whoopings as a kid, and I still went to jail. I got punishment. The reason I don't believe in punishment is because when I used to, I truly believe that an idle mind is a devil's workshop. And if you're sitting in your room, you have no TV, you have no books, you're just sitting on the bed, think about what you've done for a week. With me being an ex-con artist, let's just be real, you being an ex-con artist, I would sit in there and think about better ways to terrorize and how I'm going to get away with it this time and finagle the system. So, you know, you telling me, Tamika, that, you know, they're saying different things with your child. What did you feel, because now she's 21, she's on her own, she's doing good. What do you feel was successful for you?
I do not know. Because, we still to this day don't know what triggered it, what happened.
Mm-hmm.
It happened at 3 years old. Same thing. Running around the classroom, going underneath the desk, throwing chairs at the teacher, running out of the school, and then the school didn't know what to do. So you're like, okay, so I thought y'all was supposed to help me, we're supposed to help each other. And it comes to find out, they just don't have the resources at that particular school to handle children who have a disability or illness like that. So I got information from someone else, a co-worker, who told me about another school, Pillow Elementary. They have the resources. She went from Pillow Elementary to Keeling Middle School, and they have this system. So it's Pillow, Keeling, and then McCallum. That's their system for those type of children who have illnesses, mental health issues, ADHD, behavioral health. They keep you on the straight and narrow. They put you in classes. They help you. They come get you out of those classes.
I just got off the phone with my boy Archie, who said he got the master plan, dog. If you're thinking of using the Women Crush Wednesday or Man Crush Monday feature on 180 Life, you better get on it right now before the train leaves the station, because it's the best feature you ever seen. You get so much exposure with 180 Life. You better tap in with my guy Archie and 180 Life right now.
180 Life presents the Elite Talent Show. Performances by Bree Wade, Jump Wells, Plain Jane, and you know DJ Blake for real is gonna be on the ones and twos. We got vendors gonna be in the building. Hope to see you there. Get your tickets now.
They do one-on-one with you, help you with your work. When I tell you about the time she got to middle school, which is Keeling, about the time she got to 8th grade, 7th grade, and 8th grade, she was like, okay, I'm finna act right. She didn't want nobody to be picking at her or knowing that she gotta go do all this. Now all of a sudden you're miraculously acting right.
Right.
But guess what happens after high school? You right back to acting a fool. Now can't nobody tell you nothing, you don't want to listen to nothing, I did it, but then it's, Mama. Your child has to want it for themselves as well as you want it for them, because I saw the stages, I'm like, this girl was crazy, she did. And then all of a sudden you want to act right in middle school and high school.
So you said your baby's 24, right?
She's 21 now.
21. So 20. You got any between? I'm gonna say 17, 25. You got any between that age?
I have a 19-year-old.
Okay. Do you have any between 17 and 25? Do you
Yes.
have any between that age? So I believe it was something in this. I believe it was something in the Similac. I think it was something Gerber did. Me personally, that's my belief. They can call me. I'll be here for an interview for them, because I believe that there was something in the Gerber. Because I'm blessed to have younger siblings. They all act alike. They act and this is my belief. They act entitled. They don't know. They don't want to work. But I have met some 19-year-olds that went to college and are doing good, some 20-year-olds, and it's very slim and few in between. And it's literally, I think, a handful that I know that actually got their stuff together and really doing it. What do you feel between that age group? What insight can you give? Because I seen her shaking her head, he laughing. What do y'all feel in that age group that's been really,
She said
it's just
it.
not like us. Like,
I mean, even though you don't see the progress right away, you just have to continue on the path of laying the groundwork and keeping the road clear, so to speak, for them. Like, just keep reminding them, no matter what they do, just keep reminding them that that was wrong. Just constantly, instead of just throwing up your hands and saying, get out.
You also have to find some type of positive reinforcements. I also make sure that she stayed in every sport possible.
Right.
From middle school, from younger ages up to middle school. So she did kickball, hobbies,
so
everything.
wait, because I don't mean to cut you off. So your child was in sports. So let's talk about that. Because again, Anessa has she's taking phones, she's taking this. I got an older sister that does that with her kids. And so they're in sports, but they still being
But
bad.
this is the thing. The school helps you on that part. Because guess what? You don't pass that class, guess what you don't do? You don't get to cheer. You don't get to play basketball. You got to sit out of that track meet. So that makes the
But can I give you my aspect of it though? Because I did that. Oh, they wouldn't let me run track. You don't want to pass you. And after week number 2, because you got to wait 9 weeks before you can get back in. After week number 2, what's the whole point? I can't run track anyway, so hey.
But my thing is she
That's it.
never failed it.
Next time on the 180 show.
Diagnosed with ADHD, they also have a broad spectrum of
And
where
they're
they
very
have
smart.
impulse disorder. So they
Impulse,
act
yeah.
off of, they do something and then they
And that's the
act.
crazy thing for you guys to say that, because I'm learning as I'm listening. Because that's a lot of people, and shout out to Sonora, everybody. She'll tell me I live off impulse. A lot of